Well, hello everyone, Texie88 here, and welcome to another review. And now I'm taking a look at the Super Nintendo conversion of Mortal Kombat, which came out by Acclaim in 1993. Now, Mortal Kombat caused quite a furore when it first came out due to its on-screen depiction of graphic violence as well as its use of digitized characters. I mean, Pit Fighter had used digitized combatants previously, but the increased level of graphic violence in the original arcade game caused quite a stir, particularly among concerned parents who are worried about what their children might have been playing. So you got 7 fighters to choose from. So what you do is basically battle your way through the other opponents, and you have to fight one after the other a few times, and then you take on a couple of boss characters near the end. Now, the first thing you'll notice is that basically anything even remotely red has been removed from this version. And the reason for that is that at the time, Nintendo of America had very strict policies regarding on-screen violence in Nintendo games. And basically, any graphic depictions of death and excessive violence were met with a big thumbs down, and as a result, all the blood is completely missing from the Super Nintendo version of Mortal Kombat. And even some of the game's famous fatalities have been toned down. Yeah, and as you can see, the graphics are really quite faithful to the arcade, not counting the lack of blood. And they animated beautifully, and this is a 16 megabit cartridge to store all that, so it's not difficult to see what see how much of what's in this went towards that. I have to admit, I would have preferred it if they could have cleaned up the edges of the characters. They do look a bit stuck on, but then that was a problem in the original arcade version as well. Oh, as you can see, Scorpion's still got his harpoon weapon. A lot of the special moves in this game are pretty run of the mill, but these two have some of them. What at least at the time, most original ones like Sub-Zero being able to freeze his opponents temporarily, and you have to be careful not to freeze an already frozen opponent, otherwise you'll get hit with what's known as the double ice backfire. And this is a problem in this particular version. That is Sub-Zero's censored Super Nintendo fatality. In the original arcade version, he ripped out his opponent's head and spinal cords, but that obviously the thought of that obviously displeased Nintendo of America, so that particular fatality had to go, so it was replaced with that one instead. But what you have to do to activate it is exactly the same. Liu Kang's is one of those whose fatality has not been altered, probably because there's no blood involved. Same thing goes for Sonya's, and even Scorpion's has been left unaltered. Yeah, some of the hit detection in this is a bit off, and it's a bit worrying that you can pretty much get away with just doing leg sweeps like that for the whole time. Well, most of the time. Oh, I lost there. I'll continue for a bit longer as I've not even been doing this for 5 minutes yet. I'll try a different character now. No, No, Scorpion. As you probably guessed, both Daniel Pesina played both Scorpion and Sub-Zero, as well as Johnny Cage. I guess that saves a lot of money. Quite how you can block a harpoon is anyone's guess, but it's only a game. I mean, the responsiveness of the controls is a little bit questionable. But there are times when it's okay, and other times when it's a little bit laggy, and which is it's still got the same come here. So. Yeah. Nice parallax on the clouds in the background there. It does look a bit strange when you harpoon someone like that and there's no blood. I mean, look at that. Yeah, give someone a... I'll give Sonya Blade a go. My understanding is they tried to get martial arts champion Cynthia Rothrock to play Sonya Blade, but she was deemed to be too expensive, so Elizabeth Malecki portrays her instead, although she is clearly influenced by Cynthia Rothrock. So yeah, I'm sure that one of those that last of those 3 spinning kicks was supposed to hit. Oh god. Notice Shang Tsung in the background. He was clapping just then. Oh dear. Some of those kicks I was doing clearly were supposed to connect, and they just weren't. So yeah, there are some elements of sloppiness in this version which don't do it any favours. So even with the blood, the other issues would still have been a bit of a problem. Oh goodness! See, I clearly punched him, and he still managed to get his cheap kick in first. The speech samples are clear enough. And the graphics are still very nice, if you can bar the fact that they do look a bit stuck on due to the lack of cleaning over. See, look at this. See, that remains unaltered from the arcade version, again, presumably because there's no gore involved in it. You just got to mash buttons and hope that it's above the. Must have had to press another button. That's the only game in the Mortal Kombat franchise that has a test your might type thing in it. Presumably because people didn't want to be mashing buttons in a game like this, it was scrapped in the later. Yeah, Raiden's Raiden's rather graphic fatality also got somewhat tweaked in this version, as did Johnny Cage's. I mean, look, you even got the animation on the monks in the background. Certain elements of this do remind me of the Bruce Lee film Enter the Dragon, especially the way it's done. I mean, obviously, you didn't have the kind of combat manoeuvres that these people are doing in this game in that film. Would have looked a bit strange. Yeah, Sonya had a burning ambition to defeat Raiden there. Yeah, sorry about that. And if you're wondering whether hidden character Reptile is in this, the answer is yes. Is Kano. Now, his fatality, it's both has and hasn't been altered. It looks the same except without anything so particularly crimson. So the backgrounds look really nice. Look at how beautifully animated they are. They didn't really have to worry about drawing anything because all the characters are digitized from actual people. Oh, God alive. Well, I think I'm going to wind up the review there. I mean, the only character you haven't seen in this is Johnny Cage, and you've basically seen the overall format of the game. So that's Mortal Kombat for the Super Nintendo. Graphics really, really nice, loads of detail. Generally well digitized characters, although, as I said, it'd be nice if they could have actually cleaned up the edges of the characters to make them look less stuck on. It's a bit like when you got blue screening and you got the solid black matte lines around them. It's that kind of effect which kind of ruins the illusion a little. But at least they got shadows on the characters as well, which makes them look not quite as bad as a result. And yeah, so visually it's generally very nice, and bar that matte line style issue. Sound and music seems to be really good as well, and I can't really complain about that. Got the music which seems to be faithful to what was in the original arcade version. Gameplay, well, the fact that there's no gore, it does actually show Mortal Kombat for the somewhat limited fighter that it truly is. I mean, when you strip away the gore, there's not really. It has a similar problem with Pit Fighter. If you strip away what made it so special, in the case of Pit Fighter, it was the digitized graphics, even though it wasn't the first game to actually do that. If you strip away the gore, you're left with a beat 'em up that's more competent than stunning, and it's not. And once you've seen the fatalities, given that in this first game each character only had just one, and there are only 7 characters, so it's not going to be all that long before you've seen the fatalities, and then realise there's not really a massive amount more to the game. And there's some gameplay flaws such as slight responsiveness issues and some iffy hit detection, and and the fact that all the characters do exactly the same thing. So it's not like Street Fighter 2, where, for instance, which came out a year earlier on the Super Nintendo, and had the different characters by and large doing different fighting moves, which added different elements of strategy to it. So I'm going to give Mortal Kombat on the Super Nintendo 6 out of 10. The lack of the arcade gore is a shame, and the other issues that I mentioned that plague it somewhat mean that it's less fun than it still could have been. So that's my verdict on the SNES version of Mortal Kombat. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that review. Catch you on another one soon. Texie88 out.